Like we always do at this time, ladies and gentlemen. Name of this video could be called When You Do Dirt, You Get Dirt. Mother, I was telling you, I was a long time ago, man. Motherfucker, look at Tia Kemp. 50 Cent baby, Rick Ross' baby mother, his kids, his children, all at 50 Cent house in the middle of him and 50 Cent beefing. And Tia thought that this was a good idea. She even did a whole interview. She thought she was a star. She's out here around these fancy cars. Her kids out here posing on these fancy cars. They taking money with the fucking with Mayweather. Not some money. Look at him. She thought she was doing it on some real shit. But this day here was the day that I don't want to play the sound. 50 Cent know what he did. He played the music, so you can't really do the sound. But while she thought she was a star, she was violating in a major way. She even had this man kids out here putting his kids in danger. They offered motherfucker, look out here kissing on Rick Ross, hugging him, took nude pictures for the man. All types of shit, and the whole embarrassment. And look, they offered Diddy, and look at Diddy, y'all. Look at Diddy. See how Diddy just looked at her and turned around and walked off. He didn't even say shit to her. Look how she's standing there looking. Diddy came in that bitch and look at Mayweather with his head to his side like, well, I ain't had nothing to do with this, bro. Look. Look at her. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. You ain't see Diddy with no barrage or motherfucking security. 50 Cent, you act like you had all this beef with him. Why you wasn't beefing with him right here?
I think like a hustler, I'm thinking about a shipment. She thinking I'm her hustle, she thinking about commitment.
Yeah, he played that whack ass music and shit. I do not own the rights to that music. That was 50 cents. I do not own the rights to that music. But like I said, if he had a problem with with Diddy. And you want me to tell you what's funny? Diddy looking at this nigga like, oh, these are the games you want to play, right? These are the games you want to play. You know this my man's old lady, right? Okay, say less. Say less, playboy. Take that, take that, take that. And Diddy went right and started fucking 50 Cent baby mother the same way he tried to play this game with that man baby mother, Rick Ross baby mother. And then Mayweather turned around and slept with T.I. wife, allegedly. Or they had relations. I don't know what the relations was, so I don't want to say they slept together. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. But I know they had relations, so let's clear that up. But he had like, oh, I didn't like 50 Cent. I ain't like Diddy. I didn't want that nigga around me. He's a fruitcake. But look at him acting like a whole fruitcake. Listen. Look, they playing with that money because they know she ain't got shit. What do you do to a chick who ain't got nothing? Play with that money.
We doing like that? We doing like that? Okay. I got you.
What'd you say? How much is that?
It's 100,000. I gotta make a bet right quick.
I got a few dollars. A little bit of walking money, all right? I ain't fucking with you right now. You in the house. You got that in the house.
I'm on my own turf. That's some traveling special.
You see that? That's not enough, right? You said that's not what you said?
It's not
that's not more than your dad.
That little girl said, nigga, that ain't more money than my dad. I'm not sure if that's Rick Ross' little daughter. That was like, that ain't more than my dad. I respect that little young lady right there, man, because this was foul. And then they had the nerve to bring P. Diddy in there. Okay, cool. Now, I'm gonna fuck your baby mother, see how you like it, nigga. Now, while 50 was running around snapping pictures with Rick Ross' son, Rick Ross was shooting shots back at him about his son.
I done took 50 Cent youngest son, Bruce Leroy, a.k.a. What? I done took him fishing before. And he loved when I do the what noise. You know, I used to see him all the time over there. But I guess one day his mom may have been creating content on Star Island somewhere, and he was walking around on his second lap.
So let me find out that he just gave up that Diddy and them was having freak offs on Star Island.
Invited him to the back of my crib. I put bread on a fishing pole, cast it. I watched Bruce Leroy catch his first Dover sole. Man, I felt proud. What?
But ended up as a casualty in a gang war that wiped out his entire crew. Daryl Hamo Baum, a notorious gangster from the Lafayette Gardens projects in Brooklyn, earned his nickname not because he was a but because he was infamous for knocking people out with one punch and then robbing them as a teenager. Despite being only about 5'7" and walking with a limp, Hamo's reputation was fierce. So how did he end up as Iron Mike's bodyguard? Well, Hamo and Mike crossed paths in juvie during Mike's troubled youth. They went different ways. Mike became a heavyweight boxing champ while Hamo spent most of the 90s in prison for robbery. Hamo got out on New Year's Eve in 1999. And Tyson, knowing his friend would struggle to reintegrate into society, tried to help him out. He gave Hamo a car, cash, a Rolex, and a job as his bodyguard. But rumor has it Hamo had trouble accepting handouts and wanted to make his own money. Shortly after his release, Hamo joined the Peanut Crew street gang and got involved with Kenneth Supreme McGriff. But by then, Hamo was 34 and the streets were crawling with younger, hungrier gangsters. Despite this, Hamo quickly made his presence known and started pressuring dealers to sell drugs for him. At that time, he was also allegedly staying at Tyson's mansion in Connecticut, the same mansion that 50 Cent would later buy from Tyson. Now, after the beef between 50 Cent and Supreme escalated, Preem ordered a hit on 50. On May 24, 2000, 50 left his grandmother's house with his son inside and his grandmother in the front yard. As he got into the backseat of a car, another car pulled up and an assailant walked up to the window firing 9 shots from a 9mm pistol. 50 was hit in the hand, arm, hip, both legs, chest, and left cheek, a few inches higher, and he wouldn't have made it. Miraculously, after 3 weeks in the hospital and multiple surgeries, 50 pulled through. His survival became one of the most legendary stories in rap folklore. 3 years later, the track Many Men would reveal Hamo as the shooter, but by then Hamo was long dead, not by 50's doing or blessing.
What goes around comes around. Hamo shot me, 3 weeks later he got shot down.
Hamo was 3 weeks after the shooting, but the timing was just a coincidence. At the time of his death, Hamo was a member of the Peanut Crew run by Ivory Peanut Davis and James J.R. Hamilton. The previous year, in June 1999, Myron Wise Hardy was in the Lafayette Gardens housing project, sparking a turf war between drug gangs. Myron belonged to the Cash Money Brothers CMB crew, formed in 1991 and led by Myron and his incarcerated brother Damian World Hardy. CMB controlled the crack trade in Bed-Stuy's Lafayette Gardens projects. Damian had shown signs of being in the 90s. In 1998, he was thrown out of a Brooklyn roller skating rink by a bouncer named Michael Collins. In retaliation, Damian had Collins by another CMB member. When Damian was in prison and heard about his brother's, he vowed revenge on the entire Peanut Crew, including Hamo, even though Hamo was in prison at the time of the murder. The alleged shooter was Peanut Davis's nephew, Rummel Davis. It was a bloody summer for the Peanut Crew. Damian ordered his enforcer, Aaron eBay Granton, to take out Peanut and his crew. The spree started when CMB member Dwayne Thor Myers, Gerard Kojak Mackins, in the vestibule of the same building where Myron Hardy was. Mackins, a member of the Peanut Crew, was suspected of supplying Rummel Davis with the gun used to kill Hardy. Next, at around 2 a.m. on June 10, 2000, Hamo was lured to the corner of Quincy Street and Marcy Avenue by a woman. As he sat in his car waiting, eBay appeared at the driver's seat window and shot him in the back of the head, and Hamo's brief return to Brooklyn streets. Tyson later paid for all of Hamo's funeral expenses. On August 1st, Junior Hamilton was shot inside Filet of Soul, a seafood restaurant he owned. And on August 10th, at around 4 a.m., eBay caught up to Peanut Davis at Club NV in New York's Soho district, shooting him twice in the back as he sat in his Range Rover. In a panic and fatally wounded, Davis hit the gas and fled the scene, accidentally hitting 38-year-old award-winning Swedish filmmaker Johan Kametz, who was walking on the sidewalk. Kametz, the director of the Wannabe and Save Tonight music videos, died after being rushed to the hospital while Davis was pronounced dead at the scene. But CMB wasn't finished yet. In 2002, Daryl Hamo Baum's older brother, Tyrone T-Rock Baum, got out of prison, but he made a critical error. He openly talked about avenging his brother's death. This kind of talk didn't go unnoticed, and when CMB members caught wind of T-Rock's intentions, they ambushed him near a construction site, shooting him 3 times in the head. It was a brutal reminder of how ruthless the streets could be. Meanwhile, Damian World Hardy had an interesting turn in his personal life. In 2002, he started dating Lil' Kim, and the two were even engaged at one point. The irony here is pretty thick. Lil' Kim's 1995 music video for Junior Mafia's hit song Get Money featured none other than Peanut Davis, Hardy's slain enemy, as her love interest. Lil' Kim had also dated Myron Wise Hardy, Damian's brother, who was known to have physically abused her, allegedly breaking her nose. This led to the plastic surgery that Lil' Kim is famously known for today. Things took another wild turn in September of 2003. Hardy got into a shootout with 50 Cent's security team outside a DoubleTree hotel in New Jersey. This beef reportedly stemmed from an earlier incident that year when Hardy confronted 50 Cent over a diss aimed at Lil' Kim during a Hot 97 radio interview in New York. Fast forward to April 2005, and the Daily News reported that Damian World Hardy had a $50,000 bounty on Mike Tyson's head. Hardy believed Tyson was responsible for Hamo's. CMB members allegedly tracked Tyson and once found him in a Range Rover in the Crown Heights neighborhood. However, they couldn't go through with the hit because Tyson, like them, was a Muslim. Tyson was never charged in connection with the alleged for hire plot. Damian World Hardy managed to avoid the law for a while, but was eventually caught. In 2015, he was found guilty of ordering 6 and was sentenced to life without parole. His enforcer, Aaron eBay Granton, also received 6 life sentences. It's wild to think that for most people, living off a multi-millionaire superstar friend like Tyson would seem like a dream. But for Daryl Hamo Baum, the allure of the street life was too strong. He missed the game too much, enough to risk his life diving back into it. Despite the opportunities given to him, Hamo couldn't stay away from the dangerous world he knew so well. And his story is a chilling reminder of how quickly things can spiral out of control in the unforgiving streets. Even with connections to powerful figures like Tyson, Hamo's fate was sealed by his own choices and the relentless cycle of that engulfed him. Now circling back to 50, while 50 managed to escape death, others weren't so lucky. In July 2001, E Moneybags was found dead in his Lincoln Navigator. There are 2 versions of why he was K-worded. Some say it was revenge for the K-wording of Black Just, while others believe it was because he robbed Inc. CEO Irv Gotti and Ja Rule. Big Nose Troy was also K-worded 3 months after E Moneybags. The police gathered enough evidence to arrest McGriff in 2002 on pending charges. During the court investigation, Supreme recalled the song Ghetto Quran, thinking it was enough to implicate 50. When the police asked 50 for more details about what he said in the record, he just told them, listen to the record. In 2003, 50 released the legendary track Many Men, where he mentioned Hamo.
What goes around comes around. Hamo shot me, 3 weeks later he got shot down.
Fun fact, in 2020, Pop Smoke and 21 Savage released their own songs referencing Many Men.
Don't cry no more. I don't look to the sky no more.
Many men wanna me, dog. I feel like 50.
As the police dug deeper, they found out that Daryl Baum had a grudge against a rival gang leading to his death. The killer was identified as Damian Hardy, the ex-boyfriend of rapper Lil' Kim. Also in 2003, Irv Gotti came under investigation, putting his record label Inc. in serious jeopardy. Gotti was charged with laundering money for McGriff in 2005, but the jury declared him innocent of all charges. Despite Gotti's legal victory, McGriff wasn't so lucky. He was convicted of drug racketeering and in New York federal court. Using testimony from a hitman, text messages, and video evidence, prosecutors proved that McGriff hired for $50,000. With all his and Gotti's assets seized, McGriff couldn't afford a lawyer and was given a court-appointed attorney. On April 9, 2007, McGriff was sentenced to life in prison. Supreme later claimed that 50 was a snitch, which he believed led to his life sentence. 50 denied any involvement in the case. All this drama was chronicled in a documentary series named Supreme Team, released in 2022 and directed by Nas.
The snitch at in the documentary. I'm not in that case.
Yeah.
You're not in the case, but you did say some shit that the police put you in the case. So, yeah. And with Diddy, tell us why you mad. Because Jimmy Henchman had a lot to do with what happened, too. And Diddy was down with the Supreme Team. Jay-Z was down with the Supreme Team. Irv Gotti, Ja Rule, you name it. And 50 Cent said, he's going to come at everybody. And that's what's been going down. So if y'all don't understand this case, Look deep into it, man. 50 Cent is on some Hail Mary shit right now. Anybody who played a part in what happened to him getting shot, like Diddy fucking with Jimmy Henchman. Jimmy Henchman was down with the Supreme team. Chris Lighty allegedly put his hands on Jimmy Henchman. That's probably why Chris Lighty's not here anymore. Not to mention, look into Chris Lighty. Chris Lighty is the one who set up Scott LaRock. Took BDP from Scott LaRock. No, man. No good deed goes unpunished. You understand what I'm saying? When you do dirt, you get dirt. That's just how it works. Make sure you like, share, subscribe in the video. You can go look into what I said. Yeah. Shouts out to that boy Diddy. Will be home next month, April 25th. I project to be a little bit earlier. We're going to see what happens and who goes down from there. It's your boy Costa Don. Like, share, subscribe. You know how we do. Peace.